My name is Forrest, I invest in stuff, and on December 13th, I made $74,000. I want to show you guys how I did it. I actually already told you guys how I did it. There's a video called How to Trade CPI and FOMC. It has 600 views. Help me get to 1,000 views. Go watch that video, guys. There's another CPI event coming up in January. This FOMC did not work out, quite frankly. So in this video, we're going to review the CPI trade. The next video that I'm doing after this will review the FOMC trade, which was a red trade. But yeah, in this trade, I made $74,000. Guys, great day overall. A little bit of mishaps happened, but we'll talk about that. So let's go ahead and jump in. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, appreciate you all taking the time. So let's record our screen and get to it. So what we got here? Tuesday, December 13th, net P&L $74,000. There's a few trades here. Scrolling through here, you can see I took some trades after the initial strangle, made some money the day before. It doesn't really matter there, but let's look at two of the bigger trades here. So you'll notice here that there was a $84,000 close, $46,000 close, but then there's this cost basis of $25,000 and $26,000. Both of these are essentially the same, right? So these were both a strangle. I took a strangle the day before, and we'll actually just open this up and talk about it. It makes a lot more sense. You can actually just see what this looks like, right? So here was my entry. So my entry in this case, this position was and I'm new to TradeZilla, so give me a second here. I bought 21 of the 40/80 calls, right? So this was the call side of the strangle. And then I believe the other side was, what was it, 38/80s? I can't remember. Doesn't really matter what the other side of the strangle was, right? The other side went to 0 ultimately. And we can see that here on the screen right now, right? So here's my entry shown by this green arrow. I got in at the close of business on the 12th, or near the close, 15:50, right? So that is 10 minutes before the market closes. SPX does trade overnight, so I actually could have gotten in at any time overnight. We see a gap here in the chart. Well, I should say it trades overnight on Interactive Brokers, which is what I use. In any case, I got in here. Why did I get in here? Well, just like I described in my other video, guys, which you should totally go watch, IV increases exponentially during these events, right? So IV continued to increase when the data dropped at 8:30 a.m., right? So this is actually showing the 9:30 open, right? But we had way more volatility before even the open. So I got out up here around 8:31, right? So you can see it's not really showing the timestamps correctly. It shows my exit, has the timestamp at 8:31 a.m. So really a minute into the volatility, but it has it here marked on the 9:30 bar. So I actually got out before the market opened in pre-market, and you can see that the net ROI was 366%, right? So what were some of the mishaps? Well, on this day, my P&L actually I was up 220 grand, actually green, right? So I netted 74K. This is what is actually still grinding my gears a little bit. I couldn't get out because I used the strategy builder in 𝐸𝐸BR, and it was my first time using it. It just took me way too long to get out of the trade, right? So I saw 220K, and I should have been able to like instantly slap the bid, get out, right? Set my limit and just get out the trade, but it wouldn't let me. So going forward, next CPI, assuming I do trade it, right? And I have some comments on that. I'm actually going to set my limits before. The problem with setting limits before is that it's really hard. You kind of have to guess, right? So it's either, do I want to set some limits of profitability that are acceptable, and just, regardless of what the price gets to, that's just what I'm going to sell at, or do I want to try and catch the top? So I don't want to catch the top, obviously. Little advice, no bullshit, guys. Like, you're not gonna catch the top. But I could have did a lot better. I mean, I left over 150 grand on the table, which is really, really frustrating, especially considering the amount of planning that I did for this. So my one mistake was obviously using an order entry mechanism, which I wasn't used to. Normally when I do strangles, I just enter both legs individually, right? There's no like specific order for a strangle. So you're just buying a call and buying a put outside the money on an underlying, and that's a strangle. In this case, I was even. So I did two strangles. I did a 70 point out the money strangle and a 100 point out the money strangle. And that gave me this P&L. Let's review that other trade. So if we go back to this trade here, you can see I have some losses around these days. Yeah, and you guys can see a lot of red after my initial strangle. I should have just stopped trading after that, but greed gets the best of us. So actually the FOMC strangle right after this was also a loss. So this one was 190% ROI. made $46,000. Not that crazy, guys. Like in terms of like net capital, I know it sounds cool. My cost basis on this was essentially 100 grand though, right? I had 2 strangles, 100 grand cost basis. So netting like 300% on that, like I make 300% during normal market hours on a trade, right? I usually don't go in with 100 grand. So the primary difference there was just my total capital basis, but like going 3 multiple on your risk is not a crazy trade at all. So ultimately didn't do as good as we wanted to. I think one of the big differences between this event and prior CPIs is the fact that we started seeing this on Wall Street Bets, we started seeing this on Reddit, Twitter, you know, all these different people were talking about the strategy, and so things were much more different than they were before. What else can we talk about? That's really it. What am I gonna do for the next one? So really 2 things. One, if you wanna know my strategy for the next one, join my Discord, sign up for Patreon. I'll be candid with you guys, there's nobody in there right now. So, I mean, you could have made this money giving out the information for free. Once I do the Patreon, that's where I'll actually start doing like one-on-one coaching and things like that. The opportunity is out there, it's up to you. I'm here to help anybody. So yeah, go ahead and join that. You know, you can be one of the first ones in. Definitely gonna have, I don't know what it's gonna be, but if you join early, you will be some of my favorite people. Next CPI is in January. Do I think we're gonna have the same volatility for CPI? I do think we'll still have some volatility. Maybe not as much. I'm gonna play a little bit lighter in that strangle, but we're still gonna play it. The last thought that I have is actually Trade CPI itself. Super cool too. Super cool tool. I actually started programming my own trading journal, right? So those of you who don't know, I'm a software engineer by background, and I was literally programming the exact same thing. Obviously they have complete feature set with like automatic import, but like I already programmed like import and storing it in the database and like visualizing it, like had programmed all of that, but the actual like notes and just like all the different like widgets and flexibility, far from having that done. So when I actually saw Trade CPI, I was like, this is literally what I wanted to build, but it is already built. So that's why I'm using this platform. Super convenient. And you know, maybe they'll sponsor me one day when I'm more profitable. But in any case, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. My name is Forrest. I invest in stuff and you should too. See you in the next video.